Hare Krishna, Murali Murari Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Krishna, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, to start.
Hare Krishna, Ravi. So you can hear me properly?
Yes, Prabhuji. We can hear you. Prabhuji.
Okay, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna devotees, Dandavat Pranam. Welcome to Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Today we are very fortunate to have the association of His Grace Murali Murari Prabhu, who will be sharing the nectar from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, chapter number 1, sloka number 2 to 4. The chapter titled The Activities of Priyavrata. Yes, Prabhuji. You want me to share the sloka, Prabhuji?
Yeah, you can. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naranjaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mutiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Raishtiki. Thank you for giving me an opportunity for purifying myself by reciting the Bhaktivedanta purport, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 1, Text number 2. Nanunam Mukta Sanganam Radharshanam Dvijarshaba Garasev Abhinivesho Ayam Pumsam Pravitam Marhati. Nanunam Mukta Sanganam Tadrshanam Dvijarshaba Griheshu Abhinivesho Ya Ayam Pumsham Bhavitam Arhati. Not Nunam, certainly Mukta Sanganam, who are free from attachment. Tadarshanam, such Dvija Rishabha, O great of the Brahmanas, greatest of the Brahmanas, Griheshu, to family life, Abhinivesha, excessive attachment, I am this, Pumsam, of person, Bhavitam, to be, Arhati, is possible. Translation and purport by Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Devotees are certainly liberated persons. Therefore, O greatest of the Brahmanas, they cannot possibly be absorbed in family affairs. In purport, in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is said that by executing devotional service to the Lord, one can understand the transcendental position of the living being and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be understood by any means except Bhakti. Lord confirms this in Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhaktyam Eka Grahev. Only by executing devotional service can one appreciate me. Similarly, in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Bhaktya Mam Abhijanati. Simply by discharging devotional service, one can understand me. Thus, for a Bhakta to become attached to family affair is impossible, since a Bhakta and his associate are liberated. Everyone is searching after Ananda or bliss. But in material world, there can never be any bliss. It is only possible in devotional service. Attachment for family affairs and devotional service are incompatible. Therefore, Maharaja Parikshit was somewhat surprised to hear that Maharaja Priyavrata was simultaneously attached to devotional service and to family life. This is the first verse. We'll go to the second verse. 513. Mahatam kalau riptarshe uttama sloka padayo chaya nirvritta chittanam na kutumbe sprihemati. Mahatam kalau riptarshe uttama sloka padayo Chaya Nivritta Sittanam Na Kudumbe Sprikamati. Mahatam of great devotees call out, certainly Vipra say, O great sage among the Brahmanas, Uttama Sloga Padaya, the lotus feet of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Chaya, by the shade, Nirvritta, satiated, Sittanam, whose consciousness, na never, Kudumbe, to family members, Srigamati, conscious with attachment. Elevated Mahatmas who have taken shelter of the lotus feet of Supreme Personality of Godhead are fully satiated by the shade of those lotus feet. Their consciousness cannot possibly become attached to family members. So, purport, Srila Narottamadas Thakur has sung Nitai Pada Kamala Koti Chandra Sustila Na Chayo Jagat Juyudaya. He described the shade of the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda as being so nice and cooling that all materialists who are always in the blazing fire of material activities may come under the shade of his lotus feet and be fully relieved and satiated. The distinction between family life and the spiritual life can be experienced by any person who has undergone the tribulation of living with family. One who comes under the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord never become attracted by the activities of family life. He is stated in Bhagavad Gita, Param Dista Nivartate. One who gives up lower engagement when he experiences a higher taste, thus one become detached from family life as soon as he comes under the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. So the last verse number 514. Samsayo ayam mahan brahman daragra sudishu satyashya siddhir abhut krishne samatir ayut achyuta. Samshaya, doubt, I am this mahan, great Brahman, O Brahmana, dara, to the wife, agara, home, suta, children, adishu, and so on, satyashya, of a person attached, yat, because, siddhi, perfection, abut, become, krishne, unto Krishna, cha, also, mati, attachment, achyuta, infallible. Translation purport by Divine Grace. The king continued, O great Brahmana, this is my great doubt. How was it possible for a person like King Priyavrata, who was so attached to wife, children, and home, to achieve the topmost infallible perfection in Krishna consciousness? King Parishat wondered how a person so attached to wife, children, and home could become so perfectly Krishna conscious. Prahlad Maharaja has said, Matirna Krishne Paratha Svetova Mito Abhipatyate Graha Vartanam. A Grahavarta, one who has taken vow to execute family duties, has no chance to become Krishna conscious. This is because most of Grahavartas are guided by sense gratification and therefore gradually glide down to the darkest region of material existence. Adanta Gopai Vishatam Tamishram. How can they possibly become perfect in Krishna consciousness? Maharaja Parikshit asked Sukadeva Goswami to resolve these great doubts. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanasalakaya Takshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sabidam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gatamakyam Ratitapadanteham Vandeham Sri Gurum Suyutapatagamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavam Cha Sri Rupam Sakarajadam Sagana Raghunadanvitam Tam Sajivam Satvaidam Savadutam Parijana Sagitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagagana Lalita Sri Vishaka Vidamcha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Taptakanjana Gaurangi, Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Vrishabhanusude Devi, Pranamami Haripriye, Vanchakalpatarubhasya, Kripa Sindhupyevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara, Srivasadi Haru Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna. So, the activities of Maharaja Priyavrata explained in this chapter. Very great king. He got a big family, very big family, and he is also ruling the country. And he earlier renounced the kingdom once again by the advice of Narada Muni and Brahma. Once again, he started ruling the country. It is going to help us to understand as our family people. We are all the householders. It is going to help. The reference of King Priyavrata, it is going to help us how a householder can also improve in his life in a strong way. It is not that only brahmacharis and sannyasis can make a great achievement in spiritual life. Even grahasthas, it is possible, and very great achievement by Priyavrata. It is going to teach us how we can also in a position to elevate ourselves to the higher understanding of the Supreme Lord and go to the Goloka Vrindavana. When we talk about the activities of Maharaja Priyavrata, this particular chapter describes how Priyavrata enjoyed royal opulence and majesty and then returned to full knowledge of Krishna consciousness. King Priyavrata was detached from worldly opulence and then he became attached to the kingdom. But finally, he again became detached from the material enjoyment and thus achieved liberation. It is a matter of detachment at an appropriate time. When King Parikshit heard about this, about the story of Priyavrata, he was struck with wonder. But he was in the same stage. Parikshit Maharaj also trying to renounce his all the thing and coming to the bank of Yamuna and hearing from Sukadeva Goswami. But he was somewhat bewildered how a devotee who is no attachment for material enjoyment could later become attached to it. Earlier, he is not having any attachment to material thing, but once again he is attached. Thus, in astonishment, he is questioning to Sukadeva Goswami. In response to King's inquiries, Sukadeva Goswami said that devotional service being transcendental cannot be deviated by any material influence. Priyavrata has received transcendental knowledge from the instructions of Narada, and therefore he did not want to enter into a materialistic life of enjoyment in a kingdom and the kingdom. He accepted kingdom, however, at the request of such a superior demigods as Lord Brahma and Lord Indra, the king of heaven. Everything is under the control of Supreme Personality of Godhead, that we should understand. The Supreme Controller, and everyone must work accordingly. Just as a bull is controlled by a rope tied to its nose, so all the conditioned souls are forced to work under the spell of a mode of nature. A civilized man, therefore, work according to the institution of Varna and Ashrama, Varnashrama institution. When in the materialistic life, however, no one is free to act. Everyone is compelled to accept a certain type of body offered by the Supreme Lord, and thus be allotted different grades of happiness and distress. Therefore, even if one artificially leaves home and goes to a forest, he again becomes attached to the materialistic life. Family life is compared to the fortress of practicing sense control. It's a big fortress. When the senses are controlled, one may live either at home or in the forest. There is no difference. Sorry. When Maharaja Priyavrata, following the instruction of Lord Brahma, accepted the royal throne, his father Manu left home for the forest. Maharaja Priyavrata then married Brihismati, the daughter of Vishwakarma. In the womb of Brihismati, he got 10 sons. There are Agnidhara, Idamaja, Ajnabahu, like that he got 10 sons. He also begot one daughter whose name was Ujaswati. Maharaja Priyavrata lived with his wife and family for many thousands of years. The impressions from the rim, that is his chariot wheel of Maharaja Priyavrata, created 7 oceans around, 7 islands and 7 oceans. The 10 sons of Priyavrata, 3 of them named Kavi, Mahavira, and Savana accepted sannyasa. So the rest of the 7 sons, they were ruling these 7 islands. The name of the islands, all of us, we know, it's Jampu, Deepa, Palaksha, Salmali, Kusha, Kruncha, Saka, and Pushkara. Each island is twice as large as the ones preceding it, because it's a very big. One is bigger than 10 times bigger than the other one, like that. And each is surrounded by liquid substance, beyond which the next island starts. The 7 oceans were containing salt water, sugarcane, juice, liquor, clarified butter, milk, emulsified yogurt, and sweet drinking water. All the islands are completely surrounded by these oceans, and each ocean is equal to the breadth of the island it's surrounded. All that we know. Maharaja Parivarta had also a second wife, in whom he got 3 sons. They were become Uttama, Raivata, and Tamasa. They all become Manus. Uttama Manu, Raivata Manu, Tamasa Manu. And here Sukadeva Goswami thus described how Maharaja Parivarta achieved liberation gradually from his family life. So, in these 3 verses, what we studied today, read today, Maharaja Parikshit asking his doubts about King Priyavrata to Sukadeva Goswami. What are all the questions he's asking? Well, first, in the first sloka, what we heard, devotees are certainly liberated persons. Therefore, O greatest of the Brahmanas, they cannot possibly be absorbed in family affair. That was one of his doubt. Second, elevated Mahatmas who have taken shelter of the lotus feet of Supreme Personality of Godhead are fully satiated by the shade of those lotus feet. Their consciousness cannot possibly become attached to family members. This is the second doubt. Third, he is asking, O great Brahmana, this is my doubt. How was it possible for a person like Priyavrata, who was so attached to wife, children, and home, and to achieve the topmost infallible perfection in Krishna consciousness? This is his very important doubt. Clarification for all these questions already given by Supreme Lord in Bhagavad Gita. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha rasavarjam rasovapyasya param drishva nivartate. Meaning is, though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment and taste for sense objects remains. Even though he is restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense object is remaining. Because when we eat some sweet, the taste will remain in our tongue. And we will be remembering it again and again. The same way, the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, but taste of the sense object is remains. But ceasing such engagement by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. So that's why Srila Prabhupada always talk about the higher taste. How we achieve the higher taste? By giving up the material things, gradually elevating ourselves and creating a situation in which we can enjoy the spiritual bliss. That is a higher taste. This is explained. Unless one is transcendently situated, it is not possible to cease from the sense enjoyment. The process of restriction from sense enjoyment by rules and regulations is something like restricting a diseased person from certain type of eatables. That's all. The passion, however, neither likes such restrictions nor lose its taste for the eatables. Similarly, sense restriction by some spiritual process like Ashtanga Yoga in the matter of Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, and Dhyana. It is recommended for the less intelligent people who have no better knowledge. But one who has tasted the beauty of the Supreme Personality Lord Krishna in the course of his advancement in Krishna consciousness no longer has the taste for the dead material things. Therefore, restrictions are there for the less intelligent neophyte in the spiritual advancement of life. But such restrictions are only good until one actually has a taste for Krishna consciousness. When one is actually Krishna conscious, he automatically loses his taste for pearl things. Answers of capabilities of a devotees, what the devotees can do and what is possible by the devotees. It is given in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. If you take the verse number 1136, Tatra Adya Yatha Tantre Jnanata Sulabha Muktir Bhuktir Yajnati Punyata Seyam Sadhana Sagasrair Hari Bhakta Sudurlabha. First type of rarity illustrated in the Tantra is liberation is easily attained by jnana and material enjoyment is easily attained by punya, such as sacrifice. After attaining dedication to those goals by thousands of attempts, we can get it. But bhava bhakti to the Lord cannot be attained if one practices thousands of different type of sadhanas, because you should be focused on that, because asakti will not appear. So, jnanam sulabha muktir. Jnana, by jnana, liberation is easy, and yajnadi punyata muktir. See, by material enjoyment easily attained by punya. But bhakti, bhava bhakti, very, very difficult to attain. And if you are diverted yourself to different type of sadhana, today one thing, tomorrow one thing, it's going to be very difficult. So you should be very focused on how to, we will have to elevate ourselves in the spiritual platform. According to Bhagavatam, there are three types of transcendentalists. The self-realized knowers of the impersonal Brahman feature of the absolute truth, the knower of Paramatma, the localized aspect of Supreme, which is understood by the process of mystic yoga, and the bhaktas, who are knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and engage in his devotion service. It is stated, Vadantat tattvavidas tattvam jag jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan idi sabdyate. The absolute truth is both subject and object. There is no qualitative difference there. Therefore, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan are qualitatively one and the same. The same substance is realized as impersonal Brahman by the students of Upanishads, localized Paramatma by the Hiranyagarbhas and the yogis, and as Bhagavan by the devotees. In other words, Bhagavan, or the personality of Godhead, is the last word of the absolute truth. Paramatma is a partial representation of Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the impersonal Brahman is the glowing effulgence of the personality of Godhead, as the sun rays are to the sun god. Those who understand simply that living being is not a matter but spirit soul, and who desire to merge into Supreme Spirit Soul, are the lowest transcendental position. Above them are the mystic yogis, who by the meditation see within their heart the four-handed Vishnu form and the form of Paramatma or Super Soul whatsoever. But person who actually associate with Supreme Lord Krishna are the highest among all the transcendentalists. This is what always Srila Prabhupada insists on. The 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Lord confirmed this. Yo binam abhisarvesham mat gader antaratmanaha Saddavan bhajate yomam same yukta tamo mataha. Yoginam api sarvesham. Of all the yogis, one with a great faith who always abide in me, thinking of me, Saddavan, Bhajate Yomam, who render transcendental loving service to me. He is the most intimately united with me in yoga and is highest of all. That is my opinion. Lord says, this is the highest perfectional stage known as prema. We say, prema bhakti, that is the level of it. Yoginam api sarvesham, mat gadeir antaratmanaha, sraddhavan bhajate yomam, sama mukta mathamo mataha. So, in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami describes the different stages of coming to the point of that Prema Bhakti. We talk about a Prema Bhakti. Lord want that type of devotees, Prema Bhakti. How it is stated in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Srila Rupa Goswami. Adau Sraddha, Tata Sadhu Sangha, Ta Vajana Kriya, Tato Anartha Nivatti, Sayat Tato Nishta, Ruchi, Tata Atha Saktis, Tato Bhavas, Tata Premabhya Danashati. Sadhakanam Ayam Premana Padurbhave Bhavet Krama. The first requirement is that one should first have sufficient faith, Adho Sraddha. That is the only process for attaining love of Godhead, Bhakti. Devotion service to the Lord throughout the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna teaches us that one should give up all other process of self-realization and fully surrender unto him. From the beginning to end, he is telling that. That is the faith. Sarva dharman parityajya mamegam saranam vraja. He says, Sarva dharman parityajya, abandon all type of religion, just surrender unto me. One who has a full faith in Krishna, that is called Shraddha, that is the starting point. And surrender unto him is eligible to being raised to the level of Prema Bhakti. That first is he will have to surrender, which Lord Chaitanya taught as the highest perfection stage in human life. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always says, he says in a mood of Trinadapi Suni Chena Tarorahit Sagishna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. Always chant the name of the Lord. There is no difference between the Lord and his form and name, all that. And that also, what is his mood? Najanam Najanam Nasunderim Kavitam Yadi Sakame Mama Janmani Janmani Sware Bhavatar Bhakti Haitu Hi Tvayai. So without the Lord, he cannot live. That is the way that Prema Bhakti he developed. Some persons are addicted to materially motivated religion, while others are addicted to economic development, sense gratification. Each and every one. In this world, we got so many type of people. Some for the economic development, some for sense gratification, and the idea of some will earn, then enjoy, or the idea of salvation from the material existence. But Prema Bhakti, love of God, is above all these things. The highest stage of love is above mundane religiosity, above economic development, above sense gratification, above even liberation or salvation. Thus, love of God being with firm faith that one who engages in full devotional service has attained perfection in all these processes. The next stage in the process of elevation to love of Godhead is Sadhu Sangha, association with persons already in the highest stage of love of God. One who avoids such association and simply engage in mental speculation or so-called meditation cannot be raised to the perfectional platform. That we should understand. But one who associates with the pure devotees or an elevated devotional society goes to the next stage. What is the next stage? Adho Sraddha, Sadhu Sangha. Next is Bhajana Kriya, or acceptance of regulative principles for worshipping the Supreme Lord. One who associates with a pure devotee of the Lord naturally accepts that a person as his spiritual master. And when the neophyte devotee accepts a pure devotee as a spiritual master, the duty of spiritual master is to train the neophyte in the principles of regulated devotional service, or Vaidhi Bhakti. At this stage, the devotee's service is based on the capacity to serve the Lord. The expert spiritual master engages his followers in work that will gradually develop their consciousness of the service of the Lord. Therefore, the preliminary stage of understanding prema, love of Godhead, is to approach a proper pure devotee, accept him as a spiritual master, and execute regulated devotion service under his guidance. Sorry. So, after accepting a spiritual master, next stage is called Anartha Nivatti. As per the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, next stage is Anartha Nivatti, way in which all the misgivings of the life are vanished. A person gradually reaches a stage by regularly performing preliminary primary principles of devotion service under the guidance of the spiritual master. There are many bad habits we acquire in association of the material contamination, chief of which is illicit sex relationship, eating animal food, meat eating, indulging in intoxication, and gambling. That are the four principles. Even when we are taking initiation, Guru insisting on, I will not do this, no meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication, no illicit sex. He is telling, and chant the Bhagavata mantra 16 round. After confirming that only, Guru will be in a position to take the give the initiation, and after that, the disciple will have to follow strictly all those things, so that his spiritual life will be in a one single particular path. The first thing the expert spiritual master does when he engages his disciple is in the regulated devotion service is to instruct him to abstain from all these four principles of the sinful life. Since God is supremely pure, one cannot rise to the highest perfectional stage of love of Godhead without being purified. Only purity can go to the purified place. In Bhagavad Gita, when Arjuna accepted Krishna as the Supreme Lord, he says, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan. He says, Pavitram. You are the purest of pure. The Lord is the purest. And thus, anyone who wants to serve the Supreme Lord must also be pure. Unless a person is pure, he cannot neither understand what is personality of Godhead, nor engage in his service in love. It's not a game. It's not just a child's play. We should be very serious about how to attain this purity. Purity gradually, anartha nivritti, which will give the purity for the devotion service. As stated before, begin from the point of self-realization, when all misusing and materialistic lives are vanished, then gradually we can elevate ourselves. After following the regulative principles and purifying from the material senses, one attains the stage of nishtha. Nishtha is firm faith with the Lord. When the person has attained this stage, no one can deviate him from the conception of personality of Godhead. No one can persuade him that God is impersonal without a form or without any form created by the imaginations can be accepted as a God. He will be very firm. Those who expose these more or less nonsensical conception of Supreme Lord cannot dissuade him from the firm faith of Supreme Personality Godhead Krishna. So his faith will become very strong, nishtha. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna stresses in many verses that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But despite of Lord Krishna stressing this point, many so-called scholars and commentators still deny the personal conception of Lord. They comment Bhagavad Gita according to their own whims. So we should not get carried away by that. Such persons cannot be elevated to the higher stage of love of Godhead. So what is the association should be avoided as per next of instructions that we will have to take care. This may be scholarly. They may be very, very scholarly. There are so many great scholars they had written the purport for Bhagavad Gita. And their department and all very maybe great, but they are not even neophytes in the process of attaining the highest stage of perfection. He is not even fit to be neophytes. They will be less than that. Nishtha implies that one should accept the word of Bhagavad Gita of the Supreme Personality of God as they are, without any deviation or nonsensical commentaries. That's why we should not go read the purport of all those other people, this thing. So, if a person fortunate enough to vanish all misgivings caused by material existence, anartha nivatti, and rise to the stage of nishta, he can then rise to the stage of ruchi, taste. This is what Prabhupada always say, higher taste, higher taste. This is the taste will come, not automatically taste will not come. You will have to come out of the Siddha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivatti, then Nishta, then the Ruchi will come. Then when the Ruchi come, Asakti, the Ruchi is taste, and the Asakti is the attachment to the Lord. Then only the attachment to the Lord will come. Asakti is the beginning of the love of Godhead. By progressing, one then advance to the stage of releasing the reciprocal exchange with the Lord in ecstasy. That's called Bhava. Next stage of Asakti is Bhava. When you connected to the Lord, you are attached to the Lord because of the taste. Then that reciprocal exchange with the Lord in ecstasy will come. That's called Bhava. Every living entity is eternally related to the Lord. Anyone can get to the level of Bhava. The relationship may be any one of the so many transcendental humors. You will be in the bhava of father, mother, any friend. At this stage, asakti, attachment to a person can be understood is a relationship with the Supreme Lord. The asakti, it will give him the knowledge about what is his relation to the Supreme Lord. When he understands his position, he began reciprocating with the Lord. By constant reciprocation with the Lord, always he is reciprocating the same affection, that fatherly affection or a friendly affection, whatever is going on reciprocating with the Lord, the devotee elevates to the highest stage of love, which is called prema. That is a prema bhakti. So we might be this prema bhakti, daily we are singing. When Guru is the only one who can take us to that level of prema bhakti, we are offering vandana to the spiritual master. Guru Vandana, Chakkudan Jelojai, Janme Janme Prabhu se, Divya Gyan Hrida Prakasito. Prema Bhakti Jaha Hoite, Avidya Vinasa Jate, Vedahai Jahara Charito. You has given me the gift of transcendental vision is my Lord, birth after birth. Who? The Guru. By his mercy, divine knowledge is revealed to me, bestowing prema bhakti and destroying the ignorance. Prema bhakti jaha hoite, avidya vinasa jate. So he is a Vedic scripture singer of all his character, Vedahai Jahar Charitu. So we are daily singing in our Mangalarati. So all that we will have to understand. After Guru Puja, we will be singing this. So prema bhakti is the highest stage of bhakti, as explained in Bhakti Radham Sindhu. First verse itself, it will start. First verse number 11 will start in Bhakti Radham Sindhu. Anya biladita shunyam, jnana karmati anavritam, anukulyena krishnanusilanam bhakti rutama. The highest bhakti is defined as continuous service or emotions directed towards Krishna, his expansion forms or other related to him, with a pleasing attitude towards Krishna. It should be devoid of desire other than the desire to please the Lord. Anya abhilad shunyam, and unobstructed by the impersonal jnana karmadi anavritam, material spiritual jnana karmadi anavritam, or karma or other unfavorable act. In this verse, Srila Rupa Goswami clearly states that if anyone wants to execute unalloyed devotion service, he must be freed from all kind of material contamination. He must be freed from association of persons who are addicted to fruitive activities and mental speculation. Bhakti, next of instructions, it is stating what are the things we will have to avoid for a bhakti. Atyahara prayarasya prajalpo nemagraha janasangasya laulyamcha sadbir bhakti vinashyati. Atyahara, overeating, too much. Prayasasya, over endeavoring. Prajalpa, idle talking. So all these commonly I used to do. I don't want to tell any of you, but I used to do. Atyahara, overeating. When we saw a wonderful prasadam, we will eat more. Prayasa, over-enduring to achieve something great. Prajalpa, and talk about others, talk about this fellow, that fellow, and idle talking, blabbering. Niyama, and not following the rules and regulation. Too much attached to the materialistic thing. and association with the worldly minded people. When we joke, we will be joke along with our own colleagues who are having the similar minded people. So this is the way you adhyahara prayasa. So once devotion service will be spoiled by that. If he is becoming too entangled with that is 6 activities, what it is: eating more than necessary, collecting more than funds than required, over enduring for mundane things that are very difficult to obtain, talking unnecessarily about the mundane subject matter, practicing the spiritual rules and regulations only for the sake of following them, not for the sake of spiritual advancement, or rejecting the rules and regulations of the scriptures and working independently or whimsically, right? We will be using all the knowledge only for the sake of showing yourself. That's not good. Associating with the worldly minded person who are not interested in Krishna conscious and being greedy for mundane achievement. When freed from such unwanted association and from the contamination of material desire, one favorably cultivate knowledge of Krishna. That is called pure devotion service. Anukulasya sankalpa pratikulasya varjanam, Haribhakti Vilasa states. One should think of Krishna and act for Krishna favorably, not unfavorably. How to act unfavorably? Example, Kamsa was an enemy of Krishna. From the very beginning, Kamsa's birth, Kamsa planned in so many ways to kill him. And because he was always unsuccessful, he was always thinking of Krishna, how to kill him. Thus, while working, while eating, while sleeping, he was always Krishna conscious. Is it not? But in a negative way, in every respect. But that Krishna conscious was not favorable. And therefore, in spite of he is always thinking of Krishna 24 hours a day, he was considered as a demon. He was thinking negatively about Krishna. And Krishna at last killed him. Of course, anyone who is killed by Krishna attains salvation immediately. That's a different thing. But that is not the aim of a pure devotee. The pure devotee does not even want to salvation. He does not want to transfer even to the highest planet, Goloka Vrindavana. His only object is to serve Krishna wherever he may be. Okay. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, Prahlad Maharaj also very clearly states the essential activities are devotion service. That is, what are the things which you will have to follow? Sravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. Devotion service of hearing about the Lord, chanting his glories, remembering him, serving and meditating upon the lotus feet, worshipping him, praying to him, thinking of oneself his eternal servant, becoming his friend and surrendering everything to him. One should surrender to the Lord as much as an animal purchased from the market surrendered to its master. Prabhupada says, if you buy an animal from the market, it will be always surrendered to the Lord. It is not a wild animal, right? So in that mood, we will have to surrender to the Lord. Such an animal never thinks of his maintenance because he knows the master will take care of him. Same way, we should have the firm faith that Lord will take care of us and we should be the servant of the Lord and do the service to him. A soul totally surrendered to the Supreme Lord is similar and never anxious for his maintenance. So no need of you to bother about, oh, what will happen to me if I am not working, if I am not doing anything, right? Simply by surrendering, what will happen to me? So simply by surrendering, Lord will take care of you. Lord only created you. Lord only going to destroy you. Lord only will maintain you. That way we should have that confidence. Srila Sanatana Goswami gives further symptoms of a full surrender in Haribhakti Vilasa. Anukulasya sankalpam pratikulasya varjanam rakshitati vishvaso grobito varnanam tata atma nikpesha karpanya satvida saranagati. The 6 divisions of surrender are accepting those things favorable for devotion service, rejecting unfavorable things, and conviction that Krishna will give protection, accepting the Lord as one's guardian or master, full surrender, and humility. So, this is the way we can achieve the highest perfection stage. We more or less about the bhakti, we read a lot of things from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which are all under next of instruction how to avoid the association what is that verse which we Atyahara Prayarasya Prajalpo Nemagraha Janasangasya Laulimse Sadbir Bhakti Vinashyati. We read, and we also said, as Bhakti Rathamba Sindhu wanted us to remove all the other activities like Anya Abhilashita Sunyam, and which can be Jnana Karmadi Anavirtam Anukulena Krishnanusilanam Bhakti Uttama. Uttama Bhakti, we'll have to get it. How to get the Uttama Bhakti also, we gone through, right? We gone from the stage of Adav Shraddha, Adav Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivatti, then Nishta, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava, Prema. These are the stages. And how we will achieve all that also we discussed very nicely for our understanding. All these, this will give us a very good situation wherein which will become pure devotees. Only pure devotees, by the great yogis only Lord accepts. He says that they are all very close to me. Yoginam abhi sarvesham madgade randanatma saddavan bhajade yomam samayukta thamo mataha. And of all the yogis, one who is a great faith in me, always abide in me, thinks of me within himself, he is rendered transcendental loving service to me. He is the most intimately united with me, he says. And he wanted it because he says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Saranam Vraja. So we should understand the proper realization, and so we should not be bothered about the liberation from the Vyana or the Punya's attainment of this thing, the materialistic enjoyment. We should always strive for the Bhava Bhakti, and we can get rid of all the other troubles in our life. So here, there are 3 questions asked by Parishad Maharaj. How a devotee who is a liberated person, he cannot be observed in the family affair. He was having a doubt. Second is, Mahatmas who are fully surrendered, they will not be they cannot possibly become attached to the family. And how this King Priyavarta, who was attached to wife and children right now, and how he attained the highest level of understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it is just a matter of bhakti, right? It is a matter of bhakti. Priyavarta, whatever the position he may be, at the instruction of the great people like Brahma and Indra only, again he went into this material thing to rule because he's a wonderful ruler. So he was asked to rule the country. We need great people to rule us. It is not that our leaders should be really selfless. They should have the proper freedom of thinking, and they should follow perfectly the rules and regulations as it is stated by the Guru or by the Supreme Lord. We will have to follow all the principles. Then only the other subjects who are living below them, they will be happy. Otherwise, each and every day they will get into some type of frictions, life, is it not? If you so the government who is selected by us should be in our mentality only. If you are having a pure consciousness, the one whom we are selecting also in pure consciousness. If our consciousness itself is not pure, how you expect a man whom we are selecting, who is going to rule us next? We will be selecting him, he will be rulers in a wrong rulers, and we will be suffering again. So it's a cycle. So we should be very, very careful of all these things. King Priyavarta is a wonderful king, and he is a Krishna conscious king. In spite of his being a family man, he always is dedicated his full life to the service of the Lord, and that's why he attained the salvation in the last. So all these things which is giving us a hint how we will have to lead our life. Okay, so King Priyavarta is not an ordinary king. He's a king of the entire universe. And it is stated, his chariot wheels, it formed 7 islands. And he got 3 of his sons as Manu. Manu is the ruler of the mankind. And 7 of his sons ruling the entire this Varshas, starting from our Ilavarsha to all the Bharatavarsha to everything, it was ruled by them. Right? Such a great king. We talk about one ruler, one of the man from our constituency, one road, one of our corporator. He became a very big man, right? But he should be in a position to give us a proper what is it, water supply, proper drainage, all that he supposed about proper road. You will have to give. How many of them they are giving? You just think it is because of wrong selections, right? But King Priyavrata is not like a ordinary MLC or a MLA or a MP or a Prime Minister or a President of some great states or the owner of this entire world. He was the entire Varshas. Around 7 Varshas were ruled by his sons. He is bigger than all of them, right? So such a man, in spite of his so many, he got 10 sons, he got 1 daughter. For the second wife, he got 3 more sons who are the Manus. But in spite of all these things, he was having the strict and perfect understanding about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That was the thing which we'll have to understand. Even that greatest king, they are Raja Rishis, they are having that feel about the Supreme Lord. So it's because of all the association and the guidance, so many things. He might be following his guru's instructions. All that matters to become a greatest devotee. So we also follow the path of Guru and Sakkudan Dilojai. Janme Janme Prabhu se Divya Gyan Tadapakasito Prema Bhakti Jaha Hoite Avidya Vinasa Jate. So by following the greatest gurus, we are having Srila Prabhupada, we are having our Guru Maharaj. By following their instructions each and every day, we should follow that 4 regulative principles and chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, without any other thing in our mind, as we were stated by Mahaprabhu, which we'll have to practice. I am always thinking about it, whether I am eligible or not. I don't know whether I'm qualified or not, and I am not doing it, but still, Trinada Pisuni Chena, Tarorahis Sagishnuna, Amanina Manadena Kitaniya Sadahari. Humbler than a blade of grass and taller than a tree, in a humble state of mind, without expecting any respect. Without expecting any respect. But give always the respect to all the people who are around us. In that state, we'll have to chant the glories of the Lord, chant the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I will end my reading of Srila Prabhupada's Bhakti Vedanta purports. So it is very nice. I will end it here. If any comments, any reflections, any feedback, I am ready to hear that. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Murali Murari Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. Thank you
Dandavat
for a very nice presentation. I think Priyavrata asked all these questions on our behalf, like Parikshit Maharaj asked these questions to Sukadeva Goswami on our behalf. We are all Grihasthas, and how one can stay in the Grihastha life and how parallelly be not so attached. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for sharing the purport and also various verses from other places. So you also glorified the devotional service, how devotional service is topmost. It helps to understand our position and attaining perfection. For devotees, you may please unmute the line. You may share any questions or comments or reflections that you may have.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji.
So much, Prabhuji. You touched so many aspects that a Grihastha has to take care of, Prabhuji. So thank you so much. One clarification, one question I had, Prabhuji. While rendering services, sometimes it happens that we feel, sometimes like in the course of services, the other devotees also, we sometimes feel suddenly disrespected. How do we deal with such situations, Prabhuji? It may not be, the other devotee may not be in that this thing, but then we feel sometimes. I mean, I'm talking about myself, not others, but how we deal with
it is we are not respecting others, or we feel that we are not respected. What you say?
Yeah, we feel that,
that we are not respected.
Yes.
Prabhuji, it is happening to not only to you, it is happening to me also. And that thing is, Prabhu, we consider everything as if we are doing, right? And whenever the insult comes, whenever the insult comes, we feel, so we are all great and somebody doing something, right? Everything is, whether it's a good or bad, everything is actuated by Supreme Personality of Godhead. Is it not? This is not that we should try to be perfect. There is no doubt about it. We should try to be perfect. But externally, some insult coming, some this thing coming, some trouble coming, all these things, it is our karmas which is creating that. It is not that you did that today to get a reciprocation. It may be some prayartha karma or something which is done, or somebody we might have insulted that is coming in the other form back to us, right? In that way, you can feel and make yourself comfortable instead of getting agitated, right? No need of you to when somebody insulting, no need of you to get agitated. Even though I am telling that, it is not possible by me also, right? They're not getting agitated. But we can, by practice, if you started feeling everything is, the source is one, right? Lord is doing it, what we can do? Is it not? He knows us perfectly. So the reciprocation of somebody else is coming through him only. Like that, we'll have to feel and be comfortable. No need of it to get agitated. But we can try to avoid that by not associating with the people. See, there is a next of instructions stating association, proper association. By avoiding the unnecessary material association, then people who are not materialistic, they will not reciprocate in a wrong way. The people, if they are really in a spiritual platform, they will be very careful in their talks and deeds. So from that we can understand there is some impingement of materialistic nature is coming out of that devotees. So we should try to be away from that instead of rejecting them or cursing them. We should pray to the Lord, please give proper understanding to the people to respect others. That's it. We'll have to do it, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. This is more of looking inside.
Inside than outside. Yes, Prabhu. No.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
And you
Hare
definitely.
Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Dandar Pranam, Balaji, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank
Hare
you
Ba-
for the nice, wonderful lecture, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Especially, you have replied for Balaji Prabhu's. That was also my question.
Hare
And you have
Ba-
replied.
Everybody's question. Everybody's question. Day to day, my
Yeah.
question also. How to
Yes,
deal with that?
Prabhu, the problem was, though we don't expect any respect, sometimes we feel we are hurt, we are insulted, as you said. For the moment, we feel we
Hurt.
know we will manage, we will adjust, we will pray God, we pray the Lord to forgive him. But somehow in our mind, it will be pinching us that the fellow should be taught a lesson, something like that.
No, see, it will happen, Prabhu. That is our material nature. We are living in the material world. We got the material body. It will happen. My seniors used to tell me always from the beginning, maybe 30 years before itself, they used to tell me, you wear that this thing in your neck. Trinadapi suni chena tarorahi saishna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. Right? Your purpose is to chant the Lord's name in a pure state of mind. No one not even bother about they are giving respect or not giving respect. You give respect. But because they are ill-treating you, you don't ill-treat them. You give the respect. In that way, they will also become okay in future.
Okay.
It is not that unless two hands together, sound will come. If one hand is not allowing others to clap, then it will not happen. So we should bother about our improvement rather than finding fault with others. That's all, Prabhu.
Hari Hari. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Dandavad Pranam.
Any other questions or comments? I think Prabhuji, it is 1 minute past the scheduled time.
Oh, okay.
We end today's session, Prabhuji, with Vaishnava Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhasya kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaः. Anandagodi Vaishnava ki jai. Namachala Darsakur ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you once
Hare
again for
Hare
this class.
Hare
We'll,
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
Dandavad pranams.
we'll meet again tomorrow morning at the same time. Krishna willing. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I'll be ending the Zoom session now.
Hare Krishna.